Man 1 was seen as a critical success, but it ultimately failed to gain enough sales for Capcom to want to go ahead and greenlight a sequel. In spite of that, however, the developers of the first game wanted to make a sequel and begged Capcom execs for the opportunity, with them finally caving and allowing it, but only under a few conditions. The devs were only given 3 months to do so, and it would need to be in their spare time. A rather daunting requirement for sure, but the Mega Man team charged onward, and on December 1988 in Japan, and July 1989 in America, Mega Man got to make his mega comeback. It's no secret nowadays just how good of a game Mega Man 2 is. Where Mega Man 1 was the developers trying to find their footing, Mega Man 2 was them morphing into a steam train and going full steam ahead, despite the odds of success being stacked against them. The sequel would not only receive higher praise than its predecessor, but would do what Mega Man 1 failed to achieve and become a financial success as well, selling 1.5 million copies worldwide, and is to this day the second best-selling Mega Man game. This also doubles as a lot of people's jumping on point with the series, including myself. While I wasn't alive when this game came out, this still was my first Mega Man game, and I remember having a blast with it. On top of just a whole bunch of flat-out new content, Mega Man 2 boasts even more stages, weapons, enemies, music, and a whole lot of sprite flickering. This game is seriously pushing the limits of what the NES is capable of. Well, I am rather excited to replay this game yet again, so let's jump right into why Mega Man 2 is the perfect sequel. 1 year has passed since Dr. Wily's defeat by the super fighting robot Mega Man. While things have been peaceful, one day Dr. Wily returns with 8 new robot masters of his own. Mega Man departs once again to put an end to Wily's evil ambitions and restore peace to the world. A much shorter setup for this game, but I can imagine that given that this was probably their final shot at this kind of game, the devs wanted to focus on the important stuff first and foremost, and I think that shows. For starters, we have an actual intro cutscene that informs us of the plot in-game, complete with a more in-depth title sequence. Something else that's really great is that this game has a difficulty selection. This is only for the international versions, however. Difficult mode is just the standard difficulty in the Japanese original. Normal mode was added later on to make it easier for new players to get into the game, with bosses and enemies having their health halved. Upon starting a new game, we get to see the new and improved boss selection screen, with bosses now having close-up portraits as their icons instead of their normal sprite. We also have 8 robot masters now, so that means we have more options to start off with. I, of course, have a well-planned route for this game, and thus I will be taking Metal Man on first. Already, it seems like there's been an increase in production value, as there is way more animation going on in both the background and foreground. We can also immediately find a new addition to the series, E-Tanks, and these things are amazing! They act as full health restores that you can chug whenever you need to. You can only carry up to 4 at a time, however, so keep that in mind. So Metal Man's stage is littered with these conveyors, with you just needing to pay attention to the direction that they're moving in. You have these spike traps as well as these jester-looking robots that'll ride these gears, and what's great is that this stage is short as well. We're already at the boss door. Metal Man will jump around constantly while throwing these saw blades at Mega Man. They can be a bit tricky to dodge sometimes, but fortunately, it's not too difficult to take him down with just the Mega Buster. For defeating Metal Man, we get the Metal Blade, which I will just say right now, fucks. This is hands down the best weapon in the game, as you can rapidly fire it, aim it in multiple directions, and it has low weapon energy consumption, so it lasts forever. Top it off with Metal Man and his stage are piss easy to get through, so you would have to be nuts not to go for this weapon first. Also, whenever we complete a stage or get a game over, we can see our password. While this game doesn't save, the password system is able to keep track of your data for you, and all that it is just dots on a grid, so it's easy to write down if you need to. Now, something odd that Mega Man 2 does is that a lot of bosses have multiple weaknesses, so with just the Metal Blade, we can take on either Bubble Man or Wood Man next. I decided to go with Wood Man, as his stage is also pretty easy. Wood Man's stage seems to take place in the forest at night if these Batbots or anything to go by, and oh, it's day out now. You also get to go underground and fight these giant fire-breathing dog robots. Later on, you can even find these monkey robots, and also flaming ostrich robots? I think that's what they are. At the end is our fight with Woodman, who raises a protective shield of leaves before firing them at us, all the while leaves descend from above. Those must be some sharp-ass leaves if they're hurting Mega Man. Just spam the Metal Blade at him while the shield isn't up, and he goes down just like a domino. For chopping down Woodman, we get the Leaf Shield, which not only protects Mega Man from lesser projectiles, it can also be thrown at enemies as yet another method of attack. I went and tackled Airman next, and okay, I can't ignore it any longer. This soundtrack is fantastic! Manami Matsume and Yoshihiro Sakaguchi returned from the first game as composers, and were joined by Takashi Tataishi, and God! I have no clue what clicked in them when making this game, but Jesus H. Christ, this is probably some of the best beeps and boops I have ever heard come from an NES. Woodman's theme, God, every time I hear it, I just remember that Silver Gunner meme. Airman's theme is probably my second favorite song in the game, and as for what is the best, well, hold on to that. We'll save that one for later. I know I didn't bring up the music back in my Mega Man 1 video, and that's just because, while I do enjoy some of the game's music, only maybe 1 or 2 songs are hummable to me. But here, it's nearly the whole soundtrack. Alright, back to the gameplay. So I have no clue what these head things are that appear at the beginning of the stage, but they aren't too bad to deal with. Just jump onto them when their horns aren't out, and be sure to watch out for the enemies that they spawn. Something else I've noticed about Airman's stage is that this level's layout is actually pretty simple, all things considered. Yeah, it can be a bit nerve-wracking being over a bottomless pit the whole time, but thanks to Mega Man not being as slippery or dropping like a rock anymore thanks to the more fine-tuned controls, this isn't much of an issue, I'm glad to say. Airman himself will shoot out these mini tornadoes, with you just having to weave between them and throw the leaf shield at him, which takes him down stupid fast. For jamming Airman with leaves, we get the Air Shooter, a weapon that I used a grand total of twice, and they were both for a boss fight. But wait, there's more. For clearing Airman's stage, Dr. Light contacts Mega Man and gives him Item 2. This is a platform that can be placed down, and then will move horizontally across a stage, which can be a great means of skipping more annoying sections of level design later on. Next, I went to pop Bubble Man, and good lord, that background! Fuck, that hurts my eyes to look at! Anyway, these frogs that vomit up smaller frogs can be annoying to deal with at times. Oh, thank God, the underwater sections don't have nearly as awful of a background. It does have this section that lines the ceiling and even some walls with spikes, all the while robot Metroids descend from above. I know that these are most likely supposed to be jellyfish, but nah, they look like Metroids to me. Also, is it just me, or does it feel like enemies are dropping more health and ammo pickups than in the first game? It probably helps that the pointless point balls from the first game were removed, as well as the entire score system, which... Bubble Man comes at us with fucking bubbles! All we have to do is stand still and fire the Metal Blade at him. He's not much of a challenge, even without the Metal Blade. For popping Bubble Buddy, we get the Bubble Lead. Or is it pronounced lead? What? You know, I don't know. This is probably one of the more useless weapons in the game, as all it does is just move along the floor all slow-like. Kind of disappointed to say that yes, the special weapons not being all that special problem from the first game still persists in this one. There are some more useful weapons here though, as some of them do a great job at covering the weak spots of the Mega Buster, like the Leaf Shield for protection, or the Metal Blade for being the Metal Blade. But Air Shooter and Bubble Lead, these just feel like boss fodder to me. Next is Flashman, and what exactly is a Flashman? Well, I can show you a flash. Check it!
Hey, you. You're finally
What?
awake.
What?
You were
What
trying
the
to
fuck?
cross the border, right?
This is the ice level of this game? I say it like that because this clearly isn't ice, but things are just as slippery. And who let the Sniper Joes have mechs? Oh god, they deal so much damage too. Fuck these things. At least once they're out of the mechs, they aren't as much of a waiting fest to deal with as last time, it feels. Anyway, Flashman himself... God, he didn't stand a chance. For annihilating Flashman, we get the Time Stopper, which, okay, you know what, just roll the Dio joke. We also receive Item 3 from Dr. Light, which is a small platform that will bounce on the floor until it comes into contact with a wall, in which it will then start rising up. It's not as useful as Item 2, but it still has some good use cases later on. Now it's time to cool down Heatman, who... I swear I pressed jump there. Ah, fuck, I got a game over too. Well, here's my password for this point in the game if anyone's interested. While getting a game over is still as inconsequential as previously, there is one thing that losing all your lives does that sucks. you lose any E-tanks that you had on you, which blows, especially if you had an inventory full of them. Heatman stage has what I believe is supposed to be lava flowing through it, so be careful not to fall into that stuff. The appearing-disappearing blocks from the first game also make their grand return in this stage, although they aren't as annoying to deal with, fortunately, except for this one section over a bottomless pit to which I say, Item 2, I choose you! As for Heatman himself, while he's not as aggressive as Fireman was in the first game, he can still be a pain in the ass, even with the weapon he's weak to, as it can be somewhat hard to keep track of his projectiles. For dousing out Heatman, we are given the Atomic Fire, which has a charge to it for a more powerful blast of fire. Dr. Light also sends over Item 1, which spawns a slowly rising platform for Mega Man to jump on, allowing him to reach sections of level that he otherwise couldn't. What is up with the tile set in Crash Man's level? It's a series of tubes that make up the floors, walls, and ceilings that make this feel rather bizarre. Our goal in this stage is to climb higher and higher to reach the only place that has not been corrupted by capitalism.
Space!
Huh, that's a precariously placed enemy. I wonder if I can— Oh, fuck you! Finally, I can platform in peace. Crash Man is weak to the air shooter, which is mighty convenient as he also likes to jump around in the air a lot, so we can just massacre him. For crashing his systems, we're awarded the Crash Bomber, which is a projectile attack that will stick to walls for a moment before exploding, and would go on to serve as an okay special attack in Super Smash Bros. Our final Robot Master is Quick Man, and there is a good reason I saved this stage for last, and let the fact that there is an extra life just right here at the start be an indicator as to why. No! Time Stopper comes in great for this stage, as those beams are insta-kills and they come out really fast, so now we can just cheese this part of the stage. Although, after this dark section is another batch of those beams, and since I depleted the Time Stopper, I had to get through them legitimately this time, which did make me nervous, but I got through it just fine and even made it to the boss. Quick Man won't stand still! Motherfucker keeps jumping around while firing these boomerangs, and I can't use the Time Stopper since I already used it for the lasers, so... Okay, there, he's down. For stopping Quick Man, we gain the Quick Boomerang, which is a rapid-fire projectile attack that can quickly rack up damage if used well. As soon as we head back to the stage select, we are greeted by Dr. Wily and his wiggly eyebrows, as he retreats to his new and improved Wily Fortress. And you know how I was talking about the music earlier and I said that there was one that I would hold off on? Well, here it is! God, this is so good! Wily Fortress 1 sees Mega Man having to, yet again, break in while fighting through hordes of enemies and some tight platforming that will also require usage of the items to get in. God, this section right here is really unforgiving. I think you have to use Item 1 to platform over to that ladder, but because the platform rises as you go, it can be rather difficult to get past this section. At the end of the level, we have to do more platforming over a bottomless pit, and oh, fuck off! Anyway, this Mega Dragon comes bursting in and chases down Mega Man. Stop! I have to pause the video here for a moment. Nearly every boss in the Wily Fortress will cause the screen to flash rapidly when attacked and once defeated. I'm going to have to issue an epilepsy warning for the rest of the video. I'll do my best to dim the screen so it's not as bad, but if you suffer from epilepsy, I suggest you exercise caution from here on out. Alright, resuming in 3, 2, 1, now. The dragon is weak to the Quick Boomerang, so just ass blast it with that until it tries to give you a fucking seizure! Ah, God! Was that really necessary? Wily Fortress 2 starts off with this section where you have to use Item 2 to cross this bed of spikes, and if you wait until the last second, you're rewarded with an extra life and weapon energy. Once we're past all of the spikes and crushers in the area, we reach this room with a rather confusing boss. The blocks that make up this room come together to attack Mega Man, and it can lead to some cheap shots, like how was I supposed to know that that specific block was going to be the one to come out next? Wily Fortress 3 feels like a reprise of Bubble Man stage with all the spikes underwater and, okay, what is this? How the hell am I supposed to do this on the first try? I don't think you can without some serious memorization of the level design. The next boss on the to-do list is the Guts Dozer, which was a little tricky to figure out at first, but the Quick Boomerang, yet again, makes quick work of it. Wily Fortress 4 is very purple and has a lot of invisible floors to mess with you, to which I say, go Item 1! Yeah, you can cheese the level design here with the items in this stage, like here with this E-Tank, for example. Next are these sections where you have to ride this platform over a bed of spikes while also avoiding getting hit by the enemies, as the knockback is sure to send Mega Man into an early scrapyard. Next up is the Boo Beam Trap, to which my mind can't decide how I should pronounce it. I know it's likely Boo Beam, but I mean, come on. Boo Beam. I would argue that this isn't really a fight, as it's more of a puzzle on how to best use the Crash Bomber, since you need to conserve the weapon's ammo efficiently to take out all of the wall boobs, as the Crash Bomber is the only thing that they can be damaged by. Once all of the wall boobs have been destroyed, we can move on to Wily Fortress 5, which is just a boss rush against the 8 Robot Masters, and since we got all of their weapons, this should be a walk in the park. They even drop health pickups when defeated, so that's mighty useful. Oh hey, Metal Man! Say, what would happen if I... No, that wasn't a jump cut. So Metal Man is secretly weak to his own weapon and dies in one hit to it. So what happened is, because I didn't move off of the teleporter, I hit Metal Man, which instantly killed him, and then teleported out on frame 1. I was dying laughing my ass off from that it made me a little lightheaded afterwards. Finally, we can take on Dr. Wily in his Wily Machine 2, which is kind of a bitch to get through, but honestly, just spam the Metal Blade and this machine is destroyed. But Wily escapes to this eerie underground cavern with all this dripping red goo. No music, no enemies, but at the end is a boss door, and when entering, Wily, what the fuck? So Dr. Wily was an alien all along. Huh, that's kind of a cop-out, but fortunately, he isn't too hard, as he just moves in a figure 8 pattern while firing out bullets occasionally, and after enough hits with the bubble lead... Did I die right when he did? It's revealed that the alien was merely a hologram being projected by this machine that the real Wily was controlling. With his plans thwarted yet again, Wily grovels as Mega Man floats in the air, asserting his dominance. Mega Man learned to levitate because he couldn't stand this bitch. With that, Mega Man walks somberly as the seasons pass. What is with this ending? He leaves his helmet on the countryside, which raises several questions in my head, but that ends Mega Man 2. In terms of being a follow-up to the original game, Mega Man 2 far exceeds expectations and then some. Nearly every aspect of the original game was improved to near perfection. It really shines through that this was the team's passion project, that despite the fact that they had to make it in their off time and were only given 3 months to do so, they managed to make something mega special. While yes, some stuff could have still been handled better, like some of these special weapons, there is so much more versatility to them than in the first game that I feel it's not as bad this go around. Top it off with the improved visuals, music, gameplay, design, everything, it's no wonder why Mega Man 2 is seen as the perfect sequel. With a golden goose now on their hands, you can bet your ass that Capcom was more than willing to make more Mega Man games now. In fact, the NES alone would see 4 more released on it, so I hope you'll join me next time for Mega Man 3 and Mega Man 4. Yes, we'll be tackling both games together. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one, and leave a like, it lets me know that you want to see more from me. With all of that said, have a great day or night. Peace.